jumping straight into the squared circle today.
Yeah, we're looking at a recent WWE Women's United States Championship match.
That's right, the one from Saturday night's main event, May 24th. Zelina Vega defending against Chelsea Green.
And we've got a lot to unpack here. Backstage stuff, but the match itself, reactions.
Yeah.
The works.
And interestingly, this match, it was added really late, like the night before on SmackDown.
Which always adds a bit of unpredictability, doesn't it?
It does. Now, let's set the stage a little. Chelsea Green, she was the first ever champ.
That's right. Inaugural champion. Held it for, what was it, 132 days? Won it back in December 24 against Mitchin.
Winning that championship wasn't just, about the belt for Green. It kicked off a whole new persona.
Definitely. She adopted a very specific gimmick, like immediately after winning. Almost like America's head of state. It's kind of elevated, maybe a bit imperious.
Wow, okay. Head of state. And she wasn't just doing this solo, was she?
Yeah, the material names two others specifically, Piper Niven and Alba Fyre.
Okay, Niven and Fyre. And their role was?
Green's bodyguards. Backing her up, making her seem even more important with this new head of state thing.
Right.
Reinforcing the whole presentation.
Right. Bodyguards make sense for that kind of gimmick.
They're called Green's Secret Hervice.
Secret Hervice. Okay, and they explain that name, too.
Mm-hmm. It's a pun on Secret Service, but, swapping out Sir for her, clearly linking it back to Green being the woman in charge, the her they're serving.
Okay, I see. Secret Her is this memorable.
Classic heel faction stuff. Yeah. Very entertaining.
So, okay, let's dive in. Backstage perspective first.
Yeah, let's start there. Kathy Kelly's interview with Chelsea Green beforehand.
What stood out from that? Her confidence seemed notable.
Notable is one word for it. I mean, unbelievably confident.
What was she saying? Something about ashes.
Yeah, rising from the ashes, something about it being morning, but now it's night. Classic over-the-top heel promo stuff. The first ever two-time longest reigning champ she claimed she'd be. And the kicker, apparently she had laryngitis doing this interview.
No way, so she's delivering these huge boasts in like a whisper?
Kind of paints a picture, doesn't it? Adds this weirdly funny element to her whole persona.
And the Secret Hervice, Piper, and Alba, they were there too, right? Backing her up.
Looked like it. Fully believing she was getting the title back. It reinforces Chelsea's whole act,
Yeah, that confidence bubble she lives in. But, like you said, does that translate to the ring against someone she can't seem to beat?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Predicting a second reign already.
Oh, yes.
Chelsea says after she beats Zelina, she will begin her second term as U.S. champion.
Wow. Okay. Well, we gave Trump a second term, so why not? Go on, tell me why not.
We had pizza last night, so why not have it again tonight?
Right. Barbie, president, 2028.
Yeah.
Barbie for president in 2028.
A sort of what-if scenario.
Would the White House be repainted pink?
Right. Right out of the gate, it's straight to the aesthetics.
Why can't we have a pink White House? Why does it always have to be white all the time?
Okay, pink White House.
I mean, can you even picture it? The sheer amount of pink paint. We'd need, like, a strategic pink reserve or something.
Yeah. Strategic pink reserve. I like that.
It really does make you wonder what the first 100 days agenda would look like. 100 days of pink-washing America. But, okay, speaking of the team, the potential administration, what role would Ken play in the cabinet?
Ken, of course. The essential question of the first gentleman's portfolio, is that what we'd call it?
What role? I mean, seriously. Secretary of Beach Affairs, Ambassador at Large for Mansplaining Prevention, Chief of Staff for Accessorizing.
How about the Ambassador of Awkward Small Talk?
Ouch. Okay, back to the match.
Right, so it starts with Chelsea Green, her entrance.
Okay, standard enough, making her way to the ring.
Exactly. But here's the first, really interesting detail the sources highlight right before they cut to commercial.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Well, it says they actually show footage of her entrance from the WWE 2K25 video game on the main broadcast.
Wow, okay. So like a direct visual tie-in to the game during the live show segment.
Yeah, before the break. That's a pretty bold cross-promotion, embedding it right there.
Definitely gets your attention.
Yeah.
And then the notes mention the commercial break itself.
Just a quick note that a WWE shop ad ran. Standard stuff.
Can't miss the chance to sell some merch, right?
Never. So coming back, The sources describe these aerial shots of Tampa, really setting the scene.
Establishing the location. Makes sense.
And straight away, the commentary plugs that they'll be on location for Money in the Bank.
Right, using the current setting to immediately build hype for a future big event. Smart, connecting the dots for the viewer.
Right after that plug, they hit you with a recap.
A recap? Of what?
Of Bronson Reed's return, described as shocking from the opening match earlier that night.
Okay, so hang on. We're in a segment ostensibly about Chelsea Green, but right after the break, they're flashing back to the start of the show.
Yep. Reminding everyone, Reed attacked CM Punk.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. So after all that, the game footage, the future event plug, the major recap about Reed, Rollins, Breakker, and Heyman, then the notes say we cut back to the ring.
And Chelsea Green is still there, presumably.
She's waiting with her secret Hervice. And just as we're processing that, the sources mention Zelina Vega makes her entrance.
Right, so the opponent arrives. The match is about to happen, finally.
Exactly. So going into this match, Zelina Vega, she'd been champ for 29 days. This was her first title defense.
And here's a key stat. Vega was 4-0 against Green in singles matches before this. Perfect record.
That's a huge mental edge, you'd think.
Leads us nicely into the match itself.
Okay, so the bell rings. How did it start? Reports say Green was aggressive.
Yeah, came right out with a running back elbow, some ground and pound. Looked like she wanted to end it quickly, maybe overwhelm Vega.
Makes sense for the challenger, especially with that losing streak hanging over her.
Definitely. Then we saw some back and forth stuff you'd expect. Vega dodged a big boot, hit a nice tilt-a-whirl head scissors.
Green managed to avoid the 619, though. Vega's big signature move.
She did, yeah. Shows she scouted Vega, knows what to look out for. They clearly know each other well in the ring.
Okay, but then things got pretty serious outside the ring, didn't they? The power bomb on the floor.
Oof. Yeah, that was a big moment. Green hoisted Vega up and just planted her on the outside. Reports said Vega looked really rocked after that.
That's a potential game-changer move. High risk, high impact.
Absolutely. Designed to take someone out, or at least severely weaken them. Green got a near fall off it back in the ring, but Vega showed some real toughness kicking out.
So how did it end? Sounds like it wrapped up fairly quickly after that, maybe 5 minutes or so, and with some outside help.
Pretty much. The reports mentioned the ref getting distracted by Alba Fyre at ringside. Standard heel tactic.
And while the ref's back is turned?
Piper Niven attacks Vega on the outside. But Vega fights back, hits a headbutt apparently.
Which gave her the opening.
Seems like it. Gave her just enough space to climb the ropes and hit the avalanche, coded for the pin. One source clocked it at 5 minutes, 10 seconds, another at 5:09. Pretty close.
So interference, but Vega overcomes it to retain. Sounds like a classic babyface finish against the odds.
It does, on paper. But there's a really crucial and kind of unfortunate moment we need to talk about.
The botched 619 attempt.
Exactly. Several sources flagged this one. It wasn't just that she missed.
What happened?
Well, one report said she missed Green entirely. Another just described it as looking really awkward, ineffective. But the big consequence...
Chelsea Green's nose, right?
Yeah. It looks like that was the moment Green suffered a legitimate broken nose. Reports say she was clutching her face right after. That a rough reminder of the risks these performers take.
Wow. Ouch. That definitely changes the complexion of the match and the post-match discussion.
Absolutely. Which leads us to, how was the match overall? The quality, the reaction? Seems like opinions were split.
Yeah, some were pretty harsh, weren't they? Calling it rough missteps, even a waste of time.
The botched 619 was definitely a focal point for the criticism, and some pointed out the finish, the Coda Red, was the same one used on SmackDown recently. Felt a bit repetitive, maybe.
Like it didn't feel special enough for a title match finish.
Possibly, yeah. Like that surprise factor for some.
But then, there's another interesting point. The match aired commercial-free.
Right, which means we saw everything, including, apparently, a slow-down chin-lock rest spot that might normally get hidden by ads.
So maybe seeing the whole thing uninterrupted actually highlighted some of the flaws or the slower moments.
And it's possible. Commercial breaks can sometimes, paper over the cracks or change the perceived pacing. Without them, everything's under the microscope.
That's a good point. What about the characters? People seem to enjoy Chelsea Green's heel work.
Yeah, there's definitely a feeling she's an entertaining villain. People like watching her try to cheat. Her whole persona clicks. But on the flip side...
Zelina Vega, having trouble connecting as the hero.
That seems to be the sentiment from some corners. One comment was pretty blunt, suggesting her character doesn't have much depth beyond, well, being short.
Ouch! That's harsh. But it does touch on something important in wrestling. Character connection is vital, maybe even more than just ring work sometimes.
It really is.
Yeah.
And maybe in this matchup, Chelsea's really strong, defined heel character is kind of overshadowing Vega's attempt to be this sympathetic babyface champion. It makes it harder for the crowd to fully invest in Vega's reign, perhaps.
A constant balancing act.
So let's take a look at Dave Meltzer's analysis of this match.
Yeah, what did it say?
Well, the assessment was pretty brief, no star rating given, described as short, and I think the quote was, not much to it.
Okay, so pretty dismissive of the match itself.
Kinda, yeah. But then it gets interesting because the notes pivot. They focus on Chelsea Green's character. Meltzer's quoted calling her a great character as a heel mid-level champion.
Ah, okay. So even if the match wasn't highly rated, the character work stood out.
Exactly. And he apparently says she should be champion again.
That focus on character over the match, in this instance, oh, it's an interesting takeaway from these notes, right? It really highlights the value maybe placed on that entertainment aspect for her role.
Right. It feels like the notes are saying, look, the potential, the character work, it's there. But then almost immediately it adds, it doesn't have to be now.
That's a key qualifier.
Yeah, that nuance feels pretty significant. Like recognizing the talent, but maybe not seeing an urgent need for the title push right this second. At least, from this viewpoint in the notes.
Exactly. It's sort of assessing where someone fits into the bigger picture, maybe, at that exact moment. Okay, let's circle back to that injury. A broken nose for Chelsea Green. That's serious.
It is.
Yeah.
But incredibly, the word is she's not expected to miss any TV time.
Really? Wow. That's tough.
Yeah, apparently getting praised backstage for her toughness. And she even posted about it on social media, didn't she?
Yeah, something like, I hate Saturdays with pictures of the injury. You gotta respect that grit.
Absolutely. Total pro. It shows incredible dedication to just keep going like that.
So thinking bigger picture, what does this all mean? This match, the injury, where do things go now?
Well, there's some interesting speculation swirling, especially considering something else that happened recently.
Zelina Vega lost a match.
Yeah, a non-title match, a Money in the Bank qualifier to Giulia.
Ah, okay. And the thinking is?
The thinking is that loss might be setting up Giulia as the next major challenger for Vega's U.S. title. Pinning the champ, even non-title, makes you look like a big threat.
Standard wrestling booking, yeah. Establishes a new contender. So where does that leave Chelsea Green?
Good question. After this loss, and now dealing with a broken nose, maybe she moves away from the U.S. title picture for a bit.
Could be. Which is a shame in a way, because like we said, her character work is getting reactions.
It is. And, it's worth remembering the commentary team apparently mentioned Zelina's emotional promo after she won the title.
Right, talking about it being like destiny after 15 years.
Yeah. And the point was made that sometimes those personal stories, that journey, they don't always get highlighted enough on TV.
That's so true. Giving that context, that backstory, can make a title reign feel so much more important, can it? Helps the audience connect.
Exactly. It adds weight. And one last thing, just for historical context. This was only the third women's championship match ever on a Saturday night's main event show.
Wow, only the third. That's actually pretty significant, puts it in perspective.
Definitely shows how far things have come, but also maybe how special these opportunities still are on certain platforms. Before the break, Michael Cole hypes the upcoming John Cena versus R-Truth match.
Michael Cole hyping Cena versus R-Truth. Leading into a SummerSlam ad.
Yeah.
August 2nd and 3rd, okay.
And the location it mentions is New Jersey. Host, Cardi B. And listen to the announcement actually has a quote from Cardi. Ready for this?
Okay, hit me with it.
She says, "We gonna turn up."
Uh-huh. Okay. You can definitely feel the energy she's planning to bring just from that.